Alright everyone, so I am back to talk about moles. And like I said, not their really cool, cute animal moles or their awesome chemistry formula, the moles that we do not like that make us look like a wicked witch. So we're going to be talking about hypertrophies of the skin. Hypertrophies of the skin. Sorry about that. Hypertrophies of the skin. So hypertrophy, what this is going to be an abnormal growth. So think of hyper and trophy. Trophy means grow, like heterotrophic, autotrophic growth. Hypertrophy means too much growth. That's going to be an abnormal growth in the skin. And most of them are benign, which is a way of saying harmless. So if you hear this word, someone saying a benign tumor, that means a non-cancerous tumor. It's good news, it's harmless, and that's always a good thing to hear. So when I mention moles, look up the pictures they have right here. You have moles that can be anywhere in the body. You cannot legally remove moles as a cosmetologist. Don't even try it. You're going to have to go in the skin and you'll go way beyond the legal limit of how deep you can go. A dermatologist can remove them, and it's very important that they do so. Right here, when it says with even hairs, because some moles have a hair in them, removing a hair from a mole could irritate or cause a structural change to it. Only a physician should remove a hair from a mole, or even remove the mole itself. One of the hypertrophies that they talk about are the keratoma, which is an acquired thickened patch of the epidermis. A callus is a keratoma that is caused by continued repeated pressure, especially in the hands and feet. If the thickening grows inward, so it goes inside of the body, which is very painful, it's called a corn. And corns, I had a few of them when I was younger. When I had to do the corn remover, which is an acidic solution, you can actually pull it out. It had like a plug. It was really gross and really scary. The next one they call a hypertrophy is a mole. It's a small and brownish spot with a blemish in the skin, ranging from color from pale tan to brown to bluish black. Some of them are going to be small and flat. They may look like a freckle. Others are going to be raised and darker. Large dark hairs often occur in moles. If you notice a mole that changes drastically, it requires medical attention because it could be serious. Moles most of the time are just a nuisance now, but if we really think about history, if you were alive during the witch trials in Salem, or way before that in Europe was a lot more brutal than Salem. If you had any abnormality like a skin tag or a mole, you would automatically be accused of being a witch during the examination process. So it was not something we wanted to have back then. Now it's just something that's more of a nuisance that we want to get rid of for that nice flawless complexion. A skin tag is a small brown-colored or flesh-colored outgrowth of the skin. Skin tags occur most frequently on the neck of an older person, and they could be easily removed by a dermatologist. Dermatologists could use surgical lasers. Some of them cut it out, and others use really acidic solutions. And I think a few of them even freeze them. And the same also occurs for warts. A verruca, and not the kind that throws a tantrum and says, "But I want it now! I want it now!" No, the verrucas we're talking about are even worse than that. They're not that bratty though. A verruca, also known as a wart, is going to be a hypertrophy of the papillae and epidermis. It's caused by a special virus, and it is infectious. Verruca can spread from one location to another, particularly along a scratch in the skin, and it requires a medical referral. We cannot legally remove verrucas in the salon. They are contagious, so that, when you're doing a pedicure and a foot bath, you want to thoroughly clean it to avoid spreading the virus. I used to have verrucas in my hand, and I got rid of them using Lomatium topically. But you can actually spread verrucas, believe it or not, by shaking hands. It's usually, and most of the time, the virus that causes HPV, it is harmless. It's just a nuisance. It's almost like a passage, like we've all had chickenpox. It does go away on its own usually. Give it a few years. Sometimes you have to use solutions. I had the warts in my hand at one point for 8 years straight, and then they would itch once in a while. And when they started to really itch, I don't know if my immune system kicked in or what, or it was Lomatium, and they were completely gone. There's so many different remedies for warts, so try as many home remedies as possible if all else fails. And I even remember dermatologists telling me that there are entire seminars for dermatology for verrucas, because they're so difficult to treat. The wart even makes its own cells. It's really cool in the skin. So they make their own blood vessels as well that supply it. And that's what makes removing them very tricky, is you have to get all the infected cells out, because even a little bit that remain can either go dormant and then flare back up, or it'll just come right back. So on to a more darker topic, skin cancer. It's usually caused from overexposure to the sun. It comes in 3 distinct forms that vary in severity, and each are named for the type of cells it affects. So basal cell carcinoma is the most common and the least severe type of skin cancer. You usually see it, and it's characterized by light or pearly nodules. So it's something that's very, very easy to miss, but if it looks suspicious, make sure you know the photographs in the book, because that can help you save someone's life or yourself if you notice something on yourself. Squamous cell carcinoma is more serious than basal cell carcinoma and is often characterized by scaly red papules or nodules. And the third and most serious form of skin cancer is malignant melanoma, which is often characterized by black or dark brown patches on the skin that may appear uneven in texture, jagged, or raised. Malignant melanoma is the least common but also the most dangerous type of skin cancer. You want to recommend that someone see a dermatologist regularly for cancer screenings, especially if you notice any changes or coloration in the size of a mole. If the skin bleeds unexpectedly or a lesion or scrape does not heal quickly, that's usually a sign that something is wrong. Cancer is actually an overgrowth of skin cells, or not skin cells, cells in general. They don't stop going through mitosis, and that unwanted division causes the changes. You can do home self-examinations in between doctor visits. Advise clients to check. They always say in the book right here, this quote, quoting from the book, cosmetologists serve a unique role by being able to recognize appearance of serious skin disorders and referring the client to a dermatologist for diagnosis and treatment. One of the ways I remember is that basal cell carcinoma, it looks like a little bit red sore area with some odd flakes. Squamous cell carcinoma looks like almost like a really, really sore scab, and it's flaky. And malignant melanoma is really, really deep, and it has a really scary looking color. So the American Cancer Society, check this out on their website. They use A, B, C, D, E as a cancer checklist. And these are all symptoms of what skin cancer may look like, so we know how to screen for them. A is for asymmetry, meaning that if something is asymmetrical, it's not even, it's got this really weird border that's all kind of bent out of shape. B is for border. The border is irregular on the lesions. C is for color. Melanomas are usually darker and have more than one color that fade into one another, almost like kind of like a bruised effect. D is for diameter. The lesion in melanoma is usually at least the size of a pencil eraser. And E is for evolving. The melanoma as a lesion often changes in appearance drastically. So now we're going to be talking about acne and problem skin. So usually skin problems are issues that clients have that may not necessarily be a medical emergency, but it's something that causes them distress, so they come to us to help fix it. So one of them is acne. It's both a skin disorder and an aesthetic problem. It's usually misunderstood to be a teenage disorder, but it can affect people at any age. If you look at a lot of the commercials now, they are now acknowledging adult acne, which is a real thing, and it causes a lot of people distress. So it can affect people in their 20s and 30s or beyond. Because it affects the appearance, the interest of a cosmetologist or esthetician is important in their life. If the acne is severe enough, you must refer them to a dermatologist. You can try your best to treat it there, but ideally if you have both, you'll get a really good result and a happy client. Acne is a disorder with two main factors, hereditary and hormones. People with acne tend to inherit and retain cells that gather on the walls of the follicle, eventually clumping together to obstruct the follicle. The tendency for acne-prone skin, here's the technical term for that, it's called retination hyperkeratosis, which is too much keratin producing cells, and that causes the obstruction that clogs the pores. Oiliness of the skin is also hereditary. Overproduction of the sebum and the sebaceous gland contributes to acne. When the sebum hardens due to oxidation, it causes the open comedone. P. acnes, which is an anaerobic bacteria, meaning they cannot survive in oxygen, can also cause the follicle to obstruct. The main food source for acne bacteria is fatty acids. So when they are fed too much sebum, they actually grow in abundance, and that causes them to be a problem on the skin. When the bacteria multiply, they cause inflammation and swelling in the follicle and eventually rupture the follicle wall. When the wall of the follicle ruptures, the immune system is altered, causing blood to rush to the ruptured follicle. carrying white blood cells to fight the bacteria. Blood will surround and engulf the follicle, which causes the redness and pimples. So when you see the redness, it's actually your immune system doing its job to fight, and that's what causes the soreness, the red, and the hot tenderness, is a little war that's going on underneath there. An acne papule is inflammatory acne lesion resulting from this wall rupture and infusion of blood. A pustule forms, and when the papule has enough white blood cells to accumulate to form pus, which is primarily composed of dead white blood cells. It's the cells that have lost the war to the bacteria and that are dead and accumulated. So right here, they give you a little did you know. Read this because this will teach you how to identify skin cancer. Some of them are a new lesion. Client complains about sores that do not heal or unexpected bleeding. Reoccurrent scaly areas that may be rough to the touch, especially in sun-exposed areas such as the face, arms, or hands. Any unusual lesions on the skin or on the scalp that change in an existing lesion or mole. And if you see any of these, that's when it's time to refer them to a physician. So for acne treatment, minor forms of acne can be treated without a medical referral. The use of cleansers for oily skin types. The foamy rinse-off products remove excess oil from the oil and acne-prone skin. Toners can help to remove excess sebum. They're a must for any good skincare. Follicle exfoliants and leave-on products can remove them. Common ingredients that help acne are AHA, or alpha hydroxy acid, salicylic acid, which also comes in a peel form, and benzoyl peroxide. Benzoyl peroxide can be especially effective since it helps to shed cellular debris and kill acne bacteria. I will tell you myself personally, I did not like benzoyl peroxide because I used Proactive, which is a very common acne line, and I'm not trashing this line. It may work for some, it may work for a little bit. For me, it did the exact opposite. I did not react well to it. I ended up getting secondary chemical burns from it, and I had blotches everywhere, and it was wintertime, so I couldn't even hide it, and I had to go to school like this. I think I was even in like middle school. I went in there with red blotches that were warm to the touch. I literally had a sunburn, and it was peeling. That's how bad I reacted to benzoyl peroxide. And you have to know the percentage and all that. It's very important. So they also avoid using fatty skincare products that can clog the follicle. You want to make sure that you get non-comedogenic, which means that the product has been designed to not clog the pores. So comedogenic means causing acne, and non-comedogenic means non-causing, non-acne causing. You don't want to use harsh products that overclean because this can cause inflammation and actually cause your body to produce more oil, which can worsen the condition. You can treat mild to moderate cases of acne by salon and spa professionals who have extra training. I actually like using mandelic acid peels. They're really good for getting rid of acne. That's your go-to peel for acne, and the client that's under 18. Aging skin issues. This is probably one of the most biggest markets of skincare is anti-aging products. If you think about this, clients will pay an arm and a leg for anti-aging treatments, and you can really sell good retail that way. You can sell them in products they can do at home, and there's also special facials. There is dermabrasion, microdermabrasion, chemical peels, which is the big sellers now. It's like one of the biggest trends. You can do light therapy, special facials. There's so many options in skincare nowadays that are actually more effective than what we had in the past. So aging has two factors. Intrinsic, which if you think of intrinsic, it's internal. Think of our DNA, our cells that are inside of us. These are factors that we can't control. No matter how bad we fight it, we can't always fight our genes. So intrinsic factors are things we have little control over. These are our genetics, which include our coloring, resistance of sun damage, gravity, which does pull us down, and that's why they have facials that are able to try to hoist the skin up, and ingredients that kind of give you a mini lift. Facial expressions and repeated motions of the face can cause lines such as crow feet, smile lines, and forehead wrinkles. I have trained myself not to move my brows up and down when I'm surprised because I do not want the lines. I actually have a few of them here. And actually, I'll give you guys an example. That's a hyperpigmentation right there. And right here is another example of one. You actually could do a little exercise where you examine each other's skin in the classroom or examine a friend's skin. You can actually see on their face the different things that are in the book. So know that any kind of repetitive motion is going to weaken your elastin fibers, and that's what causes some of the aging. we're given a very small amount of elastin. When you use that, the elastin's all up. You don't get more of that. Collagen you can get more of, like they have collagen treatments, collagen injections, and there's all these advanced treatments. So if you choose to go the surgical route, there's Botox, there's facelifts, there's now the mini lift, cool sculpting. All these skin things can help age skin. Extrinsic factors, these are primarily environmental factors. Here's what's really scary. Many scientists and dermatologists believe that extrinsic factors are responsible for up to 85% of skin aging. So most of the stuff, and here's the good news, we can control. 85% of skin aging we can control. And these are exposure to the sun, and the book even says tanning beds are a no-no. These will age your skin, they ruin your skin. Also, here's a little fun little fact, that just for your own FYI. If you decide to eat certain fruits and vegetables or use certain oils on your skin, like essential oils, I love essential oils, but be careful because there's a term called phytotoxic, or not phytotoxic, phototoxic, photo meaning light. Phototoxic ingredients will cause your skin to be more prone to burns. This also includes certain vitamin A's that you put on your face. That can also increase your risk of a burn. AHAs can do that as well, and that's why I gotta be very careful. Do not be that client that gets a chemical peel that looks really nice and you decide, oh, I'm gonna go tanning today. You're gonna leave with a very sore and blistered face. Sun is the number one cause of aging, and the key to preventing that is to use a broad spectrum sunscreen. So you wanna recommend that to a client, and I also wanna tell you guys on your own to please look up different types of natural sunscreen, because I know that's the biggest trend. Look up some essential oils that you can use. I've used carrot seed oil and have great results on my own. Even though I'm a cosmetologist, I'm not gonna be like, oh, natural is bad, don't use natural. I actually like natural myself. So if you feel like there are natural remedies, that could be an area that you can look into. And a lot of brands are starting to come out with professional grade natural products without a lot of the junk that we don't want, like the aluminum and the toxic stuff. You also want to know that smoking is a huge no-no. And by the way, guys, I also want to add this because I know a lot of people are younger in high school and they're not smoking. Like I can say that back in my day, we smoked cigarettes, but in high school, everyone is vaping. Here's the issue with vaping. You are not immune to the cell damaging factors from vaping. Vaping contains a lot of heavy metals. It's still just as bad for your body as cigarettes. And you can get popcorn lung, crystallization in the lung, and you can get very sick if you vape. Same with cigarettes, and cigarettes also produce a giant amount of free radicals, which are unstable molecules that cause cell aging and all kinds of issues with our skin and body. They ruin our body. Smoking can deprive the body of oxygen, so it takes the nutrients away, so the skin appears really gross looking and very drab. Overuse of alcoholic beverages can make the skin look really gross. Alcohol abuse causes the body to repair itself poorly and interferes with proper nutrition. So it can also hurt your memory and ruin your skin. And that is why the skin appears dull and dry with someone who's been drinking a lot. And I know we're getting that 20-minute mark, so you know what we're going to do? We're going to end here. I'm going to come back to also educate you guys more on why you should not smoke or drink. And then I'm going to end it with the sun and its effects and contact dermatitis and how to protect yourself against it.